Vijay, you're on mute, unfortunately.
Welcome, Maureen. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now, but unfortunately you were on mute before.
Well, it looks like I may have to reintroduce yourself. So these things happen. So firstly, a warm welcome to everyone. I'm Vijay Tirathrai, your host for Founders Insight at the LATOKEN VCTV. Today we're going to be talking about health tech, and health tech is one of the fastest growing sector within the healthcare and medical sector by and large. It is said to be one of the fastest growing emerging spaces when you think about healthcare and health tech, which includes things like nanotechnology, CRISPR, mental health tech, sleep therapy, assistive tech, and so on and so forth. The list just goes on and on. But today we'll be talking to two founders and who are developing very interesting technology in their own respective spaces, and followed by two VCs who are heavily involved in the funding of health tech, but particularly supporting women entrepreneurs. My first guest is Mairin Reid, who's just joining us here from Singapore. Welcome, Mairin, once again, and great to see you after many months of working together at the Texas program. Allow me to introduce Mairin. Mairin is a digital health leader, inventor, and entrepreneur. Throughout her career, she's been primarily focused on healthcare and life sciences. So as a digital health leader at Deloitte and Accenture, she's been working with government agencies, global MNCs, and NGOs across Australia, Europe, the Americas, and Southeast Asia, just putting into practice the best of healthcare systems as well as solutions. Now, she is the co-founder and CEO of Cogniant, a patented solution that is accelerating neurological clinical research, which drives better patient outcomes using digital biomarkers. And she's going to talk more about that. So I'm really excited to have you, Mairin. So let's begin with the conversation. What is Cogniant and what exactly are you trying to solve in the marketplace?
Thanks for the introduction, Vijay, and it's great to be here. So maybe I'll start with the problem. So, in today's world, over 1.3 billion people globally will suffer from a neurological condition such as depression or dementia or a stroke in their lifetime. So if we put that into context, that's 1 in 6 people. And so at Cogniant, we're really focused on trying to solve that problem in terms of really up the value chain with neurological research. So we've patented the first truly passive patient-centric solution that captures relevant digital biomarkers across mobile devices, so allowing individuals to be tracked and monitored anytime and anywhere. And we're supporting patients, researchers, and biopharma companies along that clinical research and drug discovery value chain for both neuropsychiatric and neurodegenerative disorders such as dementia and Alzheimer's.
That's really advanced science. You seem to be in the nexus of life sciences, modern care, primary care facilities, but also with technology. And I wonder, what are the challenges you see as a woman entrepreneur working in this space today?
Yeah, I mean, I think just as an entrepreneur in general, I think that that there are many companies trying to solve this problem, but in essence, we've seen in the last 12 months, and it's probably last 18 months now since the pandemic, I think, clinical trials are hard. And when we specifically focus on mental health, we know that, once someone downloads a mental health app, that patient engagement after 14 days is people generally fall off. So that's a 95% dropout rate when it comes to individuals actually accessing services and downloading a mental health app. And we know for randomized clinical trials that we're conducting at Cogniant, we know that over 60% of those use subjective measures in terms of actually determining whether they're successful or not. So we're really focused on using objective measures. And I think the biggest problem here is the pipeline of neuroscience drugs in the pipeline. So there's I think it's over 40 or $50 billion worth of neuroscience drugs in the pipeline, but actually only 6% of those will be approved by the FDA. And so at Cogniant, we're trying not only as a female co-founder and CEO, I mean, my day-to-day focus is how do we solve the whole issue around clinical trials and how do we bring drugs to market faster, but also how do we actually, improve patient outcomes.
But I would dare say that, you referenced mental health, but I don't think the framing is mental health per se. It's really more about predictive, neurological disorders and potential, solutions you can prescribe before you can anticipate any serious, patient illness. Talk to us about who is the typical customer persona that you serve in the market, and how big is this market that you're addressing, and why is it so important today?
Yeah, I mean, good questions, and there's a number of different ways to cut that question up. But I think first and foremost, we have clinically validated solutions, and we're focused on the world's most diverse patient population set. So we've started off in APAC. So I'm based in Singapore, but we've got clinical trials in Australia and Singapore. But the idea is, as we evolve as a digital medicine company, we'll bring those insights and those data insights to the rest of the world. And so who we are generally working with is twofold. One is top global biopharma companies and biotech companies to accelerate their clinical trials. And then on the flip side of that is also research collaborations with some of the leading academic institutions in the world when it comes to actually enabling groundbreaking neurological research. And so both of those, really focus on our technology and the value that we bring to ultimately to drive better patient outcomes.
Mairin, you seem to have a first mover advantage. You are working with the top universities, hospitals in Singapore, Australia, now in Shanghai with Johnson & Johnson, J Labs. Who is your competition, and how different are you in terms of addressing them?
Yeah, so I think our competition is twofold. One is, the big tech players in the world, the Googles, the Apples of the world, that are kind of dabbling in this space. But really, when it comes to the rigor of FDA approval, it's not in their core business to go down such a regulatory pathway. And the second, I guess, in terms of our competitors, would be those small niche players that are really focused on, a particular section of that value chain, whether it's the real world evidence or the commercialization or the patient engagement. And so at Cogniant, we've tried to own the end-to-end value chain when it comes to actually, really focusing on clinical drug discovery and research.
One thing that I'm excited for you is, looking down the road, you will have incredible set of data, analytics that, particularly given the markets that you serve today, which I believe no one else is working with the predictive AI algorithms that you have patented. And tell us, what does that mean in terms of the potential value of what you're now building?
Yeah, I guess what's different about our technology is the method of assessment, right? So we are a BYOD, which means bring your own device. So we are not a wearable. We are not, an Apple Watch or any form of add-on in terms of hardware. And our focus on our data collection is really on that novel data set, as you said, and then the expansive kind of phenotyping that's drilled off the back of that to really provide clinical state prediction, but also outcomes measurement. In terms of, if you're looking ahead and what that means for us as a company, I think we're very much an ethical AI. So we're not in the business of sharing our data with a third party. That is not what we're interested in doing with Cogniant. But what we are interested in, and what we deem is more important than that, is using our data sets to derive novel data insights for our clients that we're working with. So, and we use those anonymized insights to be able to apply that to a number of different therapeutics that are in the drug pipeline at the moment.
Mairin, I've got loads of questions to follow up with, but I'm afraid we're up for time. Just one quick word. What has been your experience moving from in the consulting world with leading medical life science practice into real world entrepreneurship?
Yeah, I mean, it's a roller coaster every day, and I think that that's what excites me and is fearful in equal measures, right? So I think throughout the journey, I've really focused on, staying true to myself, and for me as a female role model, it probably comes down to three things. It's the importance of being a female entrepreneur comes down to three things. It's the importance of role models and female role models around me that have obviously, been there before or instilled, a supportive or learning environment. And I think, that started off with my mother being a female entrepreneur. And the second is the importance of networks and connections. So, at Cogniant, we have a philosophy around, as a startup, we don't know all the answers. And so we use people like yourself to engage with when we have, problems in order to accelerate our learning and accelerate our thinking. And I think the last thing is, always being accountable and being able to prioritize. So knowing where to focus my time and energy. And I think, owning and running and developing a business, you really, time is of the essence. And I think defining goals and ultimately not being afraid to fail is the really important philosophy that drives me as an individual and Cogniant as a company.
It's always a pleasure, Mairin. Wish you all the best of luck, and be safe.
Thanks, Vijay. Bye.
So that was Mairin Reid, co-founder of Cogniant, and making headways out of Singapore and Southeast Asia, Australia, with her AI predictive analytics for neural diseases. Next is a conversation around wearables and healthcare apps. How many of you actually wear Fitbit, Oura Ring, or Apple Watch just to track your vitals? I do, and I think many of you probably do the same. The wearables market, according to market research firm IDX TechX, is projected to reach over $100 billion by next year. One such company is making headlines is Vivoo, which is a company based out of Silicon Valley. And I'd like to bring on my next guest, who is Miray Tayfun, who is the co-founder and CEO of Vivoo. Welcome, Miray.
Hi, Vijay. How are you?
I'm doing well. It's been a while. I know you've been in lockdown. We have not met for at least a good 1 year, but great to see you.
Yeah.
I know you split your time between San Francisco and Istanbul. Whereabouts are you at the moment?
I'm at Istanbul right now. Yeah, I've been traveling a little bit during the lockdowns, so I'm not complaining.
I can imagine so. Allow me to give a brief introduction of you to the audience. One thing that Miray is passionate about is epigenetics, something that I had to Google and figure out what that is. But I think that's a study of how lifestyle factors can influence what you call gene activity without actually modifying the underlying DNA. Correct? Is that a good description?
That's pretty good. Yes, that's pretty good. So you know it now.
So Miray also holds a Bachelor of Science degree in bioengineering. She's a co-founder and CEO of Vivoo healthtech, which we're going to talk about, which revolutionize the way we do home testing using urine tests and a mobile app. So Miray, let's dive into it. So what is Vivoo, and exactly how does it work as a product, and what are you trying to solve in the marketplace?
Sure. So Vivoo is a wellness application that works with a urine test, at-home urine test, that guides users to a healthier lifestyle based on their body's needs. So Vivoo has two components, a urine test and your mobile phone. All you need to is basically urinate on your sticks and take a picture with your app, and instantly you'll be able to track your hydration levels, pH, ketones, UTIs. Now we're coming actually with more metrics, more minerals and vitamins, which are surprise coming in 2 months. So it is a wellness tracker, just like your Fitbit, your Apple Watch or your Oura Ring, but it doesn't track your steps or heart rate. It tracks your deep body metrics.
So I like one phrase that I recall very well that you've used in the past. Your body has a voice, and the voice is expressed through a simple P test, right? That's exactly what you're hoping to get. So your body actually can speak to you how it's feeling on the day-to-day basis. And that's the whole philosophy behind Vivoo. Would that be a good way of saying it?
Yeah, so Vivoo's motto is your body's voice. it is helping you to hear your body's voice. So our body talks to us in multiple ways, I guess. We have mental warnings. Sometimes we have our arms aches or stomach aches. But what is going on in the metabolic level? So we will highlight those informations through an app. Yeah.
So I guess this I don't know if you have a sample of your Vivoo sticks out there. Maybe you can flash it on the screen. But I know you can subscribe.
Yeah.
You know, you can get
I
it
always
on a monthly.
have them. Yeah.
You're on right. So tell us about who is the typical customer of this product. Where can you find them? How big is the market that you're addressing?
Of course, we started with really clear target personas when we started distributing Vivoo, but now we're seeing multiple types of people getting attracted to Vivoo for various reasons. But as you know, we're a consumer product. We have customers from 54 countries at the moment. And the most common thing we see is these people are caring about their bodies and want to be healthier and better. It can be for weight loss. It can be for bigger endurance during athletic performance, but the main goal is taking care of their bodies. Yeah.
You've been in the market over 4 years, but let's speak about the observations you made over the last 1 year during the pandemic. You know, how do you see consumer behavior change over the last 12 months, and how is that? How are you responding differently to your customers, I guess?
Technically, we've been in the market like 1.5 years or so. But after we properly launched in CES 2020, whole pandemic started. And it's benefited our business, our type of businesses, because people had extra dollars to spend because they were not going out anymore. They weren't spending money outside. They started to invest those dollars into their health and wellness and hobbies while they were at home. So we will obviously benefited from this trend changes.
Are you able to monetize the data that you capture, obviously anonymously across the world? But where are you leaning in that direction when you talk about data analytics?
So as data analytics, of course, we have some really interesting insights, like what is the most hydrated, we're going to publish some really interesting pieces soon. What is the most hydrated city? What is the highest wellness score state, etc. But generally, we use the data to provide better insights to the data owner, to the customer. So we don't monetize on a general scale like 23andMe, but we are planning to monetize on the consumer level to match them with the best fitting products.
Miray, we obviously have very short time on this show, but I just wanted to ask you this. You know, your motivations, right? You have the ability to influence lifestyle changes on consumers. And what does it mean to you to be able to do that?
I think that's the best part of our business as a consumer startup. We get inspired from these customer feedback, and when they say, "Hey, I was never eating these type of food, and thanks to Vivoo, I introduced it, and I feel much better," or "I used to never drink enough water, and I was always feeling tired, and with Vivoo, I can track my," these small insights that affects their overall wellness in life is really making us happy. So yeah, they feed us all the time. Yeah.
Well, Miray, you're onto something big. Thank you for doing what you're doing, and it's really exciting to see your products out there. I've been with you on this journey from the very inception of when you launched Vivoo, and wishing all the very best.
Thank you. See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. That was Mairin Tayfun, the CEO founder of Vivoo. And now we're going to be talking about venture capital and the impact to the health tech industry. The growth in venture capital funding for health tech innovators is at record levels in when we go back to year 2020, and it's likely to continue unabated over 2021. The number of venture deals with these innovators such as Vivoo and Cogniant has nearly doubled over the last 1 year, and will continue to grow dramatically. with us today, we have two amazing women who are leading two VCs, respectively, in different countries. And I'd like to bring them on board to talk a little bit about venture funding. So my first guest is Heather Henyon. Welcome, Heather. And my second guest is Priya Oberoi. Welcome, Priya. Great to see you both. It's been a while since we chatted, either in Dubai or on Zoom. But as you probably heard from the last two guests speaking about the respective companies, we're going to be focusing our conversation on primarily in wellness, healthcare, as well as women in entrepreneurship, which both of you are very passionate about. I know we have very limited time, so just for the sake of an introduction, I'll start with Heather. Heather is the founding partner of Mindshift Capital, a global venture fund that invests exclusively in early-stage women-led technologies. I have the pleasure of working with her on a few deals. She's also the founder of Women's Angels Investor Network, WAIN, the first and the largest women's angel group in the Middle East. She's invested over 100 direct and fund investments in the US, Europe, and the Middle East. Heather holds an MBA in Finance and Entrepreneurship from Johnson School of Cornell University. And she's also been nominated the Investor of the Year by the Arabian Business in 2017 and 2016. Originally from the US, she's living in Dubai right now and been in the Middle East for the last 15 years and speak Arabic and French fluently. Heather, welcome. Let me start with you, and maybe you can talk a little bit about your investment thesis of Mindshift Capital.
Sure. Thanks, Vijay, and it's great to be here today. So Mindshift is a global venture fund. We invest, as you said, exclusively in women-led tech companies. We're a gender lens investment fund. We focus on 4 sectors: health and wellness tech, ed tech, food tech, and fintech. And that's really because that's where we see kind of what we call the rise of the zillennial. So consumer trends that are changing by the day due to the next generation, different values, different interests that are driving new business models. And I should start, Vijay, by disclosing that I'm an investor in Vivoo. So as you know, Mindshift is. So it was great to see them on the show as well.
Great to be, and also for full disclosure, I'm an investor through Techstars in Vivoo as well as Cogniant. So we have something in common here. So we'll circle back more into details, but give us a flavor of the kind of deals that you generally look for when you talk about Vivoo as an example, but what else do you look for generally, and give us a flavor of the deals that you're chasing right now.
Sure. So we've invested so far out of this fund in 9 companies. We are investing globally, so we're in 5 different countries. Primarily, our focus is really, I would say, MENA, US, but we have invested also in Singapore in a food tech company there, a cell-based shrimp company that's really exciting. But yeah, we're early stage investors. Our sweet spot is the bridge between seed and Series A. So we're not pre-seed, we're not usually first money in. We like to come in a little bit later. And unfortunately, female founders have a hard time raising capital, and so generally we'll raise not as much capital as the guys at the seed round. So what happens is they don't have enough capital to meet the Series A metrics needed. So they generally do the seed or the bridge between seed and A, and that's really the space where we like to play.
I'm going to come back on that focus on female entrepreneurs and early stage investing,
Sure.
but. I want to firstly introduce Priya Oberoi to my audience. And Priya Oberoi is the managing general partner at Goddess Gaia Ventures. Gosh, I love that name, Goddess Gaia Ventures. A female-founded firm investing in health and wellness tech. Priya has been an entrepreneur founder, and her career has been as a lawyer. And she has also been a pioneer in Islamic derivatives, very actively involved in Abu Dhabi in the Middle East for many years. She's regularly featured in industry conferences and global events. She's got a phenomenal persona and profile. She, 10 years ago, built Oberoi Capital Partners, which manage fundraising, strategic advice, multi-channel scale-up positioning across different asset classes, dealing with sovereign wealth funds, institutional investors, family office, and so on. And Priya has received her bachelor's degrees in jurisprudence from Oxford University. And right now, she's heavily invested in building Goddess Gaia Venture. So welcome on board. Welcome on stage, Priya. Great to see you again. So let me dive into what's the investment thesis that you are focused on, and give us a kind of flavor of the deals that you're chasing right now.
Yeah, so we're an emerging fund, so we're first-time fund managers, and we've got between the three GPs very diverse backgrounds. And for us, we're investing in growth seeds, so very similar to you, Heather. It's a 900K check, it's around a 4.5 million valuation. And the kind of companies we're looking for are female-led companies who are working heavily in female health tech, femtech, well tech, and actually use a 360 holistic approach in trying to actually create new industries. So we're very excited about actually investing in new industry, new verticals, and actually, you know, really pioneering the women's movement in that. As Heather rightly said, you know, women, especially in the UK, there's a lot of money at pre-seed. There's SEIS, EIS funding, there's seed money, but the problem really is between seed and Series A, and Series A is the most important round. And actually getting companies fit for purpose is a huge responsibility, and there just isn't enough capital out there for that. And so that's really where we see ourselves, you know, we can plug that gap in the UK as well. And there are, I think also for us as well, you know, helping these companies scale abroad is super important. And having the backgrounds that we have, that's something we can do extremely well. So for us, the investment thesis is very much, you know, looking for, you know, fearless founders, you know, women who are operating in these investment verticals and really want to make a difference, actually.
I think you speak to a lot of the facts that we see in the marketplace today. And one point that you highlighted is the gap of funding between pre-A and Series A. And this is something that we see a lot of companies falling off the cliff, unfortunately.
Absolutely.
Having funded at pre-seed and seed stage, like how Texas, you know, generally operate in those sectors. Great entrepreneurs, great teams, great tech, but they just don't have enough runway to take you to the next stage. Exactly. And it's really a huge issue, both in the Middle East and also presumably the rest of the world. Now, you're based in London, but you are looking primarily now to also expand in Saudi Arabia. Can you speak to your plans for expansion there, Priya?
Yeah, so for us, it's really important. I guess, you know, our value add as fund managers is to help our companies scale. And we love the Middle East. And as you rightly said, I've got 20 years experience there as well. And we really want to bring some of our portfolio companies into the Middle East and set up a local channel for them so that they can actually, you know, scale from the Middle East into, you know, India, Pakistan, Southeast Asia. I think it's a wonderful forum and a wonderful base for them, basically. So we've had some very interesting conversations with investors in the region as well. And they've been very supportive as well. I mean, since COVID, we've had problems with food security. You know, I mean, I think all the governments are really eager to promote women well-being as well and female entrepreneurs. So I think, you know, the time is right for a fund such as this.
Well, I think one more thing that you speak very passionate about is really wellness is close to your heart. And I know, you know, you have actually had a successful battle with cancer yourself, and how much of that plays into the motivations of looking for other entrepreneurs who are trying to solve real world issues around health and wellness?
Yeah, I mean, for me, you know, I mean, honestly, setting up a fund is hard work. I mean, you know, at any time of your life, and being an emerging manager is probably harder now than anywhere else because the flight to capital is to safe capital right now. But, you know, the bottom line is if you want to do something, you'll do it. And for me, the cancer really, I had that 10 years ago. And first of all, I changed from law to private placement. I set up my own company from scratch. It was just me, myself, and I for a couple of years. And then we built it up to 27 people, and I loved it. But then actually looking after clients, I realized, hey, I have ideas. Why don't I get my ideas out there? Why can't I fund myself? And, you know, that was a real inspiration. But the cancer just made me realize, and especially when COVID hit in the UK, I have a very special green diet. I couldn't get access to some of the foods I needed. And, you know, we had a temporary supply chain problem here. And it's like, well, if I'm going through this, so are other people. What can I do to pay it forward? What can I do to make this better, basically? And part of that journey is investing in great entrepreneurs so that they can create companies that can actually make an impact on the world. So for me, the cancer, you know, it really kicked my butt, I think is the right way of putting it. And it changed me from being a corporate lawyer who was climbing the ladder and wanting to be a partner to let me go do something for myself and do something useful for the world, basically. But obviously I make money as well doing it. So I think it's a win-win for everybody.
I think it's very inspirational. Thank you for sharing that bit of history. So this conversation about women-led companies and women-funded companies by VCs, Heather, I've had a personal experience with you where I got scolded a year full, where you're not doing enough in investing in women-led founders. So speak to me about your passion and what exactly is your overarching theme around, getting the whole industry to shift and move towards helping women-led entrepreneurs. Speak to us about that.
No, So I think it's really about the opportunity. Unfortunately, the point you made, Vijay, about venture growing at phenomenal amounts this year and last year, it wasn't for everyone. Women actually went backwards. So funding dropped to 2.2% last year of all VC going to women-led companies. And again, before that it was like 2.8%. So it wasn't a significant drop, but still, just given the low numbers as it is, it's significant. So we know that there's a fast-growing segment of entrepreneurs who are female. In MENA, I think it's actually close to 50% based on investing there now since 2013, 2014. So in the US and Europe, close to 30-40%. So this gap between the 2 and 40% is a massive gap. And we know also on the funders side, and I think some of the points that Priya made are completely relevant to this, but basically even women-led VCs and especially emerging managers, Priya, were referred to as an endangered species because there just aren't that many of us, right? So of all in the US, 2% of the founding partners of VC funds are female. In globally, I'm sure it's even less than that, and then only 10% of partners at firms are women. So part of why we set up MyShift, we're a women-led VC. We've got a team of partners that's predominantly women. We look at businesses differently. We understand the kinds of businesses that women are building because we can relate to them and some of the lifestyle challenges that women face as raising family and all of that. And then, finally, there's just this massive financial opportunity. So we just did our first fund audit. We're at a 47% IRR. So again, and I'm not surprised. I think we've got a fantastic portfolio. I'm very bullish on investing in women. They're more capital efficient. The pricing is more rational. They're more committed to the business and making it work. I mean, women take a long-term view, whether it's building families, building businesses, building communities, and that's really what venture is all about. So that's why
I have to salute you and kudos to you what you're doing in the venture space supporting women entrepreneurs. I mean, if I look at the global average, I believe it's, depending on which report you read, is between 7% and 15% of all tech startups are women founders. And what I've done over the last, you've known me over the last 4 years, particularly in Dubai, we've been investing in our batch of companies. On average, is about 33%, or 1/3 of the portfolio companies that we invest in are led by women. So that's 3 times the average globally. But that's not good enough because you need a lot more people out there doing the same. We're running out of time. Maybe a quick take on from both of you. What keeps you up at night in terms of concerns and opportunities when you look at the Middle East, or for that matter in the UK, with wellness, with women entrepreneurs, or for that matter, the thesis that you are supporting from your investment side?
Yeah, I mean, I think, in the UK, we're still suffering from COVID here, right? I mean, we are still, we've just come out of a lockdown and our next lockdown's been extended. And, I don't want to miss this opportunity that COVID's happened for us not to invest in things that have changed the world. That's the point. I mean, instead of looking at it negatively, and so many people have died and lost their lives, and it's been a horrible tragedy. it's on the positive. We've actually got the ability now to change how we're investing in for the first time, mental well-being is being discussed in the UK. It's not oh God, we mustn't discuss this, because it affects you and it's embarrassing. People are becoming more open. It's the first time that we're really discussing femtech and really sort of like digging down deep and what matters. So for me, that keeps me up at night, not to lose that opportunity. We will get out of COVID. Absolutely. There are bright minds everywhere. But the point is we need to learn the lessons and take them forward to have a permanent change. So for me, that's super important. And I hope our fund is able to help in a small way in that manner.
Well said. Heather?
Yeah, I think for us, it's fundraising as a fund. So we thought we would do our final close by now, but we pushed it out because of COVID. I would love to see more support coming out of the MENA region for a fund like ours, where we are the first gender lens VC fund. We're an anomaly, I think. When I'm in New York and say that we're investing in Arab women entrepreneurs, people almost drop the glass that they're drinking. So I think, getting support, especially from the sovereigns, would be immensely helpful in terms of helping us to scale so that we can then invest in more female founders.
Well, once again, thank you for doing what you're doing. You've been an instrumental force within the venture capital industry, helping women entrepreneurs, such the likes of Vivoo and Cogniant, and many more, of course. And I look forward to be working with you both, co-investing in these companies and exchanging deal flows wherever possible. On that note, I want to thank you for being on the show. Thank you for being on stage, sharing your thoughts and ideas and insights. We must make it a point to do another show where we can go a lot deeper on a lot of different topics and conversations. For now, thank you very much. Be safe, and we'll hope to see you soon in Dubai.
Thank you. Thank you, Vijay.
Take care. Bye.
Take care. Bye.
So there you have both wonderful VCs from the UK and Middle East, Priya Oberoi and Heather Henyon. Heather is actually speaking from New York today. And then joining us from two founders from Istanbul and Singapore, that's Miray Tayfun and Mairin Reid, representing Cogniant. I hope you enjoyed the show today, and I hope to see you next week, same time, 10:30 a.m. UK time for our next episode. Be safe. Thank you very much. Best of luck.